Compared to the tremendous amount of attention Rockstar games get whenever there is a new release, the full completion for each and every one of their games is rather low. If you, however, don't let that scare you off and are determined to go for the juicy platinum trophy or full completion nevertheless, then please let me help you out with some general tips that I wish I personally knew about before I spent around 300 hours on the completion. Let's jump right in. Animals in Red Dead Redemption 2 influenced a whole lot of 6 trophies and many more challenges and other requirements for the Best of the West trophy. They are also the most tedious thing to fully complete and spawn at different rates. Here are some tips I wish I knew about before finishing the game to speed up the process of skinning, studying and collecting them. While this may seem dirty to do, I really advise you to look up some of the requirements for the hunting requests early on. I don't consider this cheating or foul play, since Rockstar has made it extremely difficult to find some of the necessary animals for completing those requests. Keep the list of the necessary animals next to you, if possible, so you can hunt the small ones early on and only need to track down very few when it's time to fulfill the challenge. In addition to the previous tip, remember this: animals that fit in your bag do not ever rot. No matter at which point you kill them, if they do fit in your bag, you can forever carry them with you and they will not rot. Therefore, if you ever come across an exotic bird, frog or a small rodent while doing a story mission or just exploring the map, shoot it with the according weapon and put it in your bag. Even assuming the worst possible case, which would be that you killed an animal you don't need for a hunting request, you can just sell it or use it to gain more meat. Therefore, when in doubt, always kill. Deadeye is your best friend when it comes to not damaging animals in perfect condition. Go for headshots from the front or the side, mark them and let Deadeye do the rest. Remember to use the right weapon to kill each of the animals, to not hurt the condition they're in. A perfect animal's hasty move may be what messes up the condition after you finally found it. When reaching the island you go to in chapter 5, you don't need to worry about tracking down any of the animals on there. They do not count towards the full completion. So please save the additional time, because you have enough things to do besides tracking down those extra animals that don't even count towards the full completion. Whenever you enter a new region, try to keep an eye out for new animals, even those that do seem familiar. For example, there are 2 panthers that look extremely similar to each other but are actually different kind of animals that you both need to skin. Also look out for the male and female version of the same animal, since they both need to be studied. On that note, always remember that you don't actually need to skin every single animal there is. You only need to study them. Look up very well which animals you need to skin. There's many guides out there to help you with that. So next time you only get the chance to study a bird but not shoot it down, you may be lucky enough to not even need to. Animals in Red Dead Redemption 2 have different spawn rates, meaning that you can come across a farm that has a certain kind of bull in it, and by your next visit it will be a different bull. To get specific trophies like these 3 out of the way, you need to do something called resetting the map. You basically need to make your character sleep 72 hours in a row, but after around 34 hours he'll refuse to sleep more. To resolve that issue, you need to make a manual save and quit the game every time your character can sleep more. Then you load back in and sleep again. You will have to do this for 2 times, making the average map reset take around 5 minutes. While this can get tedious, it's still much faster than spending 72 hours in game time by just waiting or riding your horse around. Use this trick to get a bear with it trophy and also the hunting requests. One overall tip you should really always remember is keeping an eye on grindy trophies, like the studying of animals and the necessary parts for the 100% completions. For example, the exotic quest will want you to collect loads of feathers from animals and plants that grow specifically in that area. It is therefore reasonable to take a stroll through the swamp around Saint Denis every time you're about to visit the city for a mission and kill egrets and spoonbills to collect their feathers, which you'll later need. This whole tip could be summarized as plan ahead. Also do this for the Bear It All trophy, since most grizzlies spawn at these locations. Just take a bit of a detour, you will thank yourself later, because these challenges are the most tedious when there's nothing else to do. Always keep your eyes at the sky. I cannot stress enough how hard it is to find some of the birds. They made up 2/3 of the animals that I didn't find when I went for the trophies that had me study and skin the animals. Always try to look towards the sky, grab your binoculars and check the many different birds out. They are a pain in the ass to find anyway, but it's much worse when you have nothing else to do. Getting those 70 gold missions dealt with is a huge pain for a lot of players, and I personally suffered a lot too trying to get them dealt with. Here are some tips on how to make it not as grindy and time consuming. What you should know is that the easiest missions to do are those that fall within the epilogue chapters and concern John. Literally almost all the epilogue missions are a free gold medal, and therefore you can easily remove around 20 missions by just finishing most of both epilogue chapters. For other missions that are easy, you can look at these ones that I personally did. Remember that finishing missions that are longer and have easier or more forgiving objectives can actually take up less time than failing a shorter mission with hard requirements over and over again. Gold medal missions are rather glitchy. If you ever die and restart from the checkpoint, many requirements will automatically become spoiled because the checkpoint restart makes them bug out. I proved this in my last video with an example I personally recorded. Dying and restarting a checkpoint will make the game tell you failed objectives even if you haven't. It's a known glitch and you'll regularly find people complaining about it. Therefore, if you do end up dying in a mission you're replaying for the gold medal, just save your time and quit to the main menu and start it again. It might suck, but it's still better than wasting 25 minutes on a mission only to find out that a bug screwed you over and ruined all your progress. In a similar fashion, skipping some cutscenes is required to meet the time limit some gold medals require. However, on other missions, skipping a cutscene will cause the mission to bug out and make you lose your progress. If for some reason you keep failing a mission, even though you're sure you did it correctly, look it up online and double check whether you should skip the cutscene or let it run. It is always an option to try and complete missions with a gold ranking the first time you ever play them, since you can immediately look up the gold medal requirements. While I personally really advise against this, you would save a tremendous amount of time by not having to replay 2/3 of the story later on. You would, however, have to skip many cutscenes and miss out on an amazing story. Note that this is just a heads up. It's your personal choice if you value some hours of your time over experiencing Red Dead Redemption 2 in the way it was meant to be experienced. There is no wrong or right choice here, just different opinions. Keep your honor level high. While the game definitely pushes you towards generating bad karma and making Arthur a real bastard, you should do your best to keep your karma high. Some quests only become available if you have a high enough honor level, and you will get a discount in stores as well. Ways to raise your honor are donating to the funds in a camp, help random strangers out by giving them a ride to a specific location or save them after they got bit by a snake or whatever other animal, or just simply wave at people and greet them, which will also give you positive honor if you do it often enough. There are a handful of missable trophies or achievements in this game, and they are not difficult at all, so remember to deal with them as early and quick as you can. For example, you can do all the necessary homestead robberies as early as chapter 2, since you only need 4 out of the total of 7. Same goes for donating to the camp funds. All the missable trophies are very easy to do. The only tricky thing is remembering them before it's too late, so go as far as writing them down if that keeps you from forgetting. Challenges are a necessary part for the 100% completion of this game. While there are 90 of them, most of them are thankfully dealt with rather quickly. Some of them, however, are very tedious. I cannot give you solid tips for most of them, because the gambler ones specifically are based purely on luck. However, there are some that you can work around. Especially the weapons expert one can get nasty because it requires you to do sneak kills with a bow and other things that involve a lot of enemies. For tasks like these, remember that you can do challenges within missions. You can reload any fitting story mission and do a challenge while playing through the mission. Even if you cannot fully complete one challenge within a single mission, it will be safe and you can finish it later on. To give you an example, Weapons Expert 9 requires you to kill people stealthily with a bow. I did all of this challenge by replaying the mission, The King's Son. Note that you cannot fulfill the challenge and then leave. It only counts if you finish the mission completely, which is admittedly a bit boring, but it's much better than struggling for hours in the open world with a challenge. There are challenges which require you to kill people with weapons like tomahawks or killing a bear with only throwing knives. For those, always remember that there's different versions of those weapons. Some work better than others. Always go for the best version of those weapons, craft them and then use them. A grizzly will go down much faster with poisonous throwing knives rather than normal ones. When it comes to the online mode, there are sadly not too many tips since it's mainly grindy rather than anything else. Your main objective when playing online and going for the achievements is making lots of money and as much XP as you can. And there's one thing which is best for both. The collector's role is basically your best bet to make lots of XP and money at the same time. It is extremely tedious and grindy, but since the online mode has very little to offer in general, it's still your best bet. Don't sell collections before they are complete for the most XP and money, and use one of the many online maps there are to let you see which places the hidden treasures are in. For the All's Fair trophy, form a posse with a friend, then make him leave the group, and you're both in the same map now and can sabotage each other's mission. If you're a sad, lonely soul like I am, your best bet is to ask people in the lobby if they'll take 10 minutes to help you out. Most Red Dead Redemption Online players are very friendly, so you should definitely get some help after a few minutes. So guys, that's all I have for now, and I hope those 19 tips will help you out and make the grind a little more bearable. If you are not yet sure if you really want to take on the 100% completion for this colossal game, I also made a video giving you my opinion on whether you should do it or not, having it completed myself. Remember that I also stream on Twitch every Wednesday to Saturday night, and if you ever want to stop by and say hi, I would be happy to meet you there. Until then friends, see you soon!